Okay, so this is where we finished in the previous part. We've got this mask. We did a couple things here as well. But every time I restart the Substance Design, you can see I have to reapply all my settings. Okay, so I'm just gonna right click on my basic base material, view it in 3D. Next, gonna pick plain high res, go to material, edit, gonna scroll down for the height scale, and I'm gonna set it to -5. And finally, I'm gonna go to environment, rotate it, so I get a better angle of that height and normal map. Okay, so it's looking pretty ugly so far. So let's maybe try to improve it and tackle the overall look of it. All right. Okay, next I think we're gonna need to create a slight dip here in the middle. So let me get a shape first. I'm gonna get our soft circle. I'm gonna apply slight blur to it, scale it down slightly as well. And next I'm gonna use multi-directional warp grayscale with maybe cells 4 map. I'm gonna run it through blur. As you can see, all the default settings here. Finally, I'm just gonna modify the scale because it's too big. Run it through this, maybe on 30 intensity. I'm not gonna change anything else. Maybe reduce the blur slightly, or maybe let's set it to 10 and actually increase the scale slightly. Cool. So we're having a nice varied mask with this. Next, I'm just gonna use a histogram scan, so I can control the position of that one, of that mask. Next, I'm gonna grab this one, run it through a bevel with the minus distance settings, maybe something like this, and I'm gonna try to combine those two together. I'm gonna try add, it's not gonna work, and I think I need to invert those so I can control the dip of this. Let me plug this in here so we can get a better view. And now if I just zero the opacity, this is what I have with that bevel. And let me actually modify that bevel because I want to get back to the results we've been having before. And maybe something like this. Don't worry, we'll be blending it with other maps as well to keep the details. So here I'm just gonna keep adding this. It's gonna delete our stuff because they're gonna become overblown. So let's try different methods. I'm gonna try overlay, but that doesn't work as well. Min. Okay, I think I actually want this bevel to be on quite minus values because I'm gonna blend other details with this one. My main point here is just to create that dip with that texture. Okay, so I'm just gonna try copy, maybe it's not gonna work. Overlay, nope. Screen maybe, but that's similar to add, I think. Let me try maybe add linear. I'm gonna start decreasing it. But it still creates that overblown area. Alright, so let me try again. Let me zero the bevel. Okay. I'm gonna get this one even less. Okay, that's too much. Okay, so there's a slight dip, but not too much. I actually need this to be a lot more visible. So I feel like we are getting somewhere with maybe this. I would like to create a bit more sharper edge. So let me go back to my blur here. I'm gonna zero it actually and keep it like this, and also I'm gonna scale down our shape, which should give us this nice edge indicating there is a dip. Alright, so once we have this, let's see if we can actually blend it with that map. Okay, so I'm gonna use a height blend. And let's use this with bevel. Doesn't seem like it's, oh, okay, I have to go in the reverse and in here. Let's see if we can blend it. Okay, so I think I cannot use that one straight from histogram scan, so let me plug that one in. It's a bit better, but I don't have a control over the bevel, so first maybe bevel, and now I can operate with the distance and add some details to that. Alright, I'm gonna try put it manually, but I need maybe that one through the bevel. Okay, minus 0.4. Back to my height blend. Let's see. Okay. It seems like I'm eroding the details actually from the center, and it's not exactly what I want to do. I am creating that dip, but I'm sacrificing details. Okay, let me roll with this and let's see if we can actually fix it later. Right, with that one now, I think I just want to increase that dip using the normal map intensity. So I'm going to run it through a normal intensity here, plug it back to normal map, and in here I got a separate slider for intensity. So I don't want it too much, maybe 0.3. It's going to create that dip around it, and I think that will be enough indication for me. All right, let's go back now, because you can see those edges here. I think they are just a little bit too soft, so I want to see if I can maybe sharpen them a little bit back somewhere here in our graph. Let me have a look. I think definitely need to sharpen those that goes around, so let me get our histogram scan for those. Change the position slightly, and they are becoming now sharper. Obviously, if you don't want them, you can get rid of them. I just want them to be there, but not too much. And also I think they are a bit too wavy, so I'm gonna decrease my Perlin noise scale. Or maybe actually increase it to, let's say, scale of 7. I have to go back to my maybe cross section here and change the scale offset a little bit and scale of it. So height scale and height offset. Something like this, so I get the jagged edges. I'm gonna try maybe at different settings as well, so I'm gonna get maybe smooth polygonal. That's the segment amount, and I think they're gonna become slightly more jagged, which is exactly what I'm looking for that crack. Okay, so that's the first one. Let's tweak the other one as well. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna go to cross section, change them to be polygonal, and change the segment amount for them as well. And now they are becoming a lot more jagged, I think. You can see them here. I'm going to also decrease that histogram scan, so they are becoming a lot more sharper. Okay, so I think I like this a lot more because of the sharp angles, and I think it would be a nice idea now to maybe start adding some details to it. And I think the first one would be the tiny stones, because obviously we got the cracks, but it would be nice to get a bit more details as a maybe small dips as a stones or poking out. So let's maybe create some small stones first. And so I'm gonna get a tile sampler here. I'm also gonna get a polygon, and I'm gonna set it to 5 sides, and that will be my pattern 1. And also gonna get shape of that soft circle as a mask, and I'm gonna dictate where I want those details to be and how much. Okay, let's preview it. I'm gonna pick the pattern input, and I'm gonna leave the amount as it is for now. I'm gonna enable symmetry random, randomize the scale of it, random the position as well, maybe a various random on the each axis as well. And now I'm gonna tone down the scale of it. Perfect. So once we have this, let's see if we can apply some bevel to it. Not too much, just very little. So minus 0.01. I think it should be enough. Next, I'm just gonna see if I can maybe blend them together here. So blend. And I'm gonna try maybe add. Okay, I'm gonna invert this. See if that's gonna work. Okay, so now they are poking out. But I think what I have to do actually is to blend the normal map for it. Okay, so this is strange. I cannot plug this one here. However, I can reverse plug it in here. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, so I've got normal intensity. Let me try to do maybe normal blend. So normal combine here, and that goes back to normal. And now we can maybe play how much intensity we actually want with those, and also if you want them to be poking out or create a holes. All right, so we're gonna have 2 different ones, I think. First, let me actually tweak that bevel, because I think the distance is a bit too much. So I'm gonna maybe put 0.05 here. Now they look more like a stones. I think I need a lot more of those. I'm gonna select my tile sampler and increase the amount maybe to 30 for each axis. Okay, so that's a lot more details now. Okay, so that's the first part, and also I wanna maybe copy that tile sampler somewhere here, create another bevel, and I wanna combine those 2 normal maps. So that'll be my normal goes here. I'm gonna plug it back into this combine with this bevel. I'm gonna go just a little bit as well. Okay, maybe 1, so minus 0.002 maybe. However, I want those to have a different position, so I'm gonna go to my position random, offset it slightly, and I'm gonna change, maybe I'm gonna try smoothing, but it doesn't look good. Maybe just a little bit. And I'm gonna reduce the intensity of that one as well. I think I'm gonna go back to that tile sampler and reduce the amount of it maybe to just 10 and 10 here. And I'm gonna scale them down to maybe 0.1. So you're gonna have a tiny little details in those. Okay, now we can go back to our shape here and just reduce their size I think we have to enable the mask first. So let me go to each tile sampler, scroll down where we have the map mask threshold. I'm gonna invert this. Oh, probably not. I don't want to invert this. Okay. Yep. And this one as well, the same thing. So map mask threshold set to 1. And that should be enough. Although I can't see any. Okay. Maybe I scale them down too much. Nope. Okay, so let me go back to my mask map threshold. Okay, so this one's gonna be maybe halfway through, and now I'm just gonna tweak that scale back. 0.07 maybe. I think they're barely visible, so let me go back to here and maybe increase the normal intensity of them. Let's actually increase their amount, maybe 50 by 50, so you can clearly see those. And those will be very tiny little details, and I think it should be enough. Barely visible. And let me get the shape now. Try to reduce it so they don't go outside, or maybe just slightly outside of our texture here. Okay. So those are the stones. Let's see if we can actually create now a normal map, which is gonna increase the depth, I think, of this of those textures. All right, so let me get this bevel, and let me see if I can maybe blend in my stones that I've made. So I think I just need to blend them together first. I'm gonna set them to add. And in here, I'm just gonna blend it back into with my height map. I'm gonna try maybe add them so I can control how much of them I actually need. And in here, I'm gonna invert this whole thing. And I'm gonna create ambient occlusion out of it. All right, let me make some space because it's becoming a real mess now. So our ambient occlusion is supposed to be here at the bottom. And let's see if you can tweak a couple settings. And I think I actually want to exclude those stones, which are our stones that carve into the decal. Okay, so actually I don't want to blend those two together. I actually want to use just those. Or rather, actually I want to use those because they're gonna create the dark spots. Perfect. And the other one is just sticking out. Okay, cool. Or maybe I can invert those first. Invert grayscale and then plug it here. Yep, that's gonna create a cool ambient occlusion for those stones as well. All right, so we've got this. Maybe those tiny little stones I'm just gonna ignore ambient occlusion for it because they are too tiny anyway. And with this, let's see if we can add some change some settings here, decrease the radius, change the samples as well. I'm gonna try world units, see if that's gonna give me something. So I think it works, but it's a little bit too dark. So maybe I can run this through slight blur, plug it back in. Obviously I don't need that much blur, just a little bit, maybe 0.1 or 0.2. Okay, let me see if I can run it through gradient map. Because with the gradient map, I can grab this black color and control the softness of it. Okay, so that's gonna reduce the darkness. I'm gonna change it to grayscale as well, and that goes back into my ambient occlusion. And as you can see, it's not as dark as we had before. And now if you want to make it darker, we can just grab this bit at the end and darken it manually. Okay, so I think that will be it for our ambient occlusion. Let's see what else we can add to it. So before we gonna start tackling the cracks and tiny little details further, let's maybe add some colors to it. So I'm gonna get my, I think that one, but I need a combination with the stones, definitely, all the stones that we have here. Right, so let me blend this with my those stones. I'm gonna set it to add, or again, maybe you don't need the tiny stones. So let me blend this with our height map. Like this for now. Obviously we'll be tweaking this later, but stones needs to go to the top, and then our height map to the second slot. So now we can control our stones, and I'm gonna get a high pass grayscale from this. You can control the radius. I'm gonna plug it into the gradient map next. It's becoming really messy, so let me make some space to the top, and that's going to be my diffuse. In here, I'm just gonna pick some colors that I think might fit. So here, gonna pick maybe desaturated brown color, and this one's going to be desaturated brown color as well. Okay, let me plug this, or maybe run it through a grunge map. Let me get maybe grunge. I'm gonna pick this one, and I'm gonna blend it together with our high pass. I think I need to run it through the gradient map first, like that, and then I can do it here. I'm gonna put multiply, and now I can control just a bit. Just a bit our variety here. So with this, I'm actually gonna increase the brightness of those colors because I think they're way too dark. Cool. And for now, I'm just gonna blend this, or rather add this to our base color. Okay. And let me go back to our colors. Let's tweak those. Okay, with our blend, I think we can play with this opacity as well. And I think our ambient occlusion is a little bit too strong. So let me go here. Let's see if we can maybe extract a curvature map as well from our normal map, which gonna give us a bit more detail. So here is our normal map. I'm gonna get a curvature smooth like this. Let's see if we can maybe blend this somewhere here and get a bit more details, or rather here maybe like this. I'm gonna run it through gradient map and need to plug this back in here. Okay, For the blend, I'm just going to add maybe. And now I can just decide how much of this I want to add. And go back to my curvature smooth. Or maybe this gradient to tweak some of the values here. I'm going to get rid of that last black color. Okay, so that's give me controls over the dips. So I'm gonna revert this slightly. Okay, I'm gonna pick maybe a color for it as well. As you can see, it kind of gives us this nice look. Maybe you can get multiply rather than add. But all it does just darkening this middle bit. Okay, so that's the one thing. Also, we could blend it again. So I'm just gonna copy our gradient map here. Select this bit. Let's see if I can invert this maybe. So those are the crevices. I already got those. I think I just want those edge highlights here, because those might look really cool if we're just gonna add them. Okay, so let me change a couple settings here. Okay, something like this. See if we can blend it back in here. So blend back to this. Okay, we are adding slight highlights here, but let me actually change the blend modes. Let's play with other settings we've got here. So I think that's the metallic, that's the roughness. I'm gonna tweak a couple values here with this, just to see if we can get a slightly better and cool looking highlights on it. It's just for us. Obviously we don't need that in the engine, or we can have a separate control in the engine, but just to see how it reflects the lights. Okay, so just a slight color, or rather grayscale, to see those all the highlights and the stones as well. Alright, so once we have this, I think those edges here, they're a little bit too sharp, so let's go back here to our control where we left our blur for that shape. I'm gonna increase it, and you can see we're gonna smooth it out, those a bit. We can go to histogram scan as well and reduce it if you want to bring that edge a bit closer to our cracks we've got here. And finally, our decal, it starts looking like some sort of impact. It would be cool if we could add a bit more details here to the center. So let's maybe focus on this, and I think we're just gonna duplicate our tile sampler and add some details to the center. So let me actually grab it here, paste it. I need those two, or rather that one, so I'm just gonna copy our shape here, because I need a separate mask for it. And that goes here. I'm gonna increase the scale of those slightly. Okay, and I'm gonna reduce that shape, because I only want this to be whoops, only somewhere around the middle, something like this. And see if I can blend this back in, and maybe it's becoming really messy. Somewhere maybe between hide blend and bevel. Okay, so let me get the blend here, get those small stones, plug it to the bevel. Obviously it's gonna change everything, but now we can maybe try to add them. And our structure here is gonna change a little bit, but let me go here and change the position of it. So position random, and I want to invert that map and run it through bevel as well. So first let's run it through bevel. Whoops. And then our height to the invert grayscale. Bevel, gonna reduce it a little bit so we get a slight gradient on those. And that goes and needs to go to that blend. Right. And now I'm gonna go to that tile sampler and increase the amount of them drastically, maybe to 90, increase their scale as well. As you can see, we are getting a lot more stones now here and rough areas. However, our bevel is a bit too much, so let me now modify our bevel slightly. Because I want a lot more jagged edges in that area. Okay, so it seems like I have to do it manually, so minus 0.0, maybe let's try 1. That's too low, maybe 0.5, so 0.005, and I'm getting some cool details there, which I quite like. And let me try smooth it a little bit. It doesn't work. Normal intensity, nope, maybe we can revert it, but that's for the normal. Try angular, maybe angular might be a good idea. And let me plug it without the invert so I can have a comparison how it looks. Okay, so that one is actually looking okay as well. So it depends what kind of details you want it there. Maybe you can reduce this maybe to 50 on the tile sampler. And now try it without the invert grayscale. And it's gonna cut into our existing surface. So I think that might be a good idea. Let's go to blend now. So we can experiment with some of the values here. And also we got separate control for that center distribution. And now we can just increase its scale and create a lot more details, as you can see. Okay, those stones might be a little bit too big now. So let me come here, change the scale of them. And the bevel as well, I think we gotta tweak. And so even this doesn't look too bad. Obviously there's too many details now. So let me put a minus 0.005 like we had before. And maybe 9. And now let's go back to this invert grayscale and see how it looks. And we get a lot more details now, which I think looks pretty cool, especially on the center, and let's have a separate control for distribution of those as well. I think that's pretty cool. All right, this video is getting very long now. Sorry about that, but I'm trying to give you as much detail as I can, so maybe you can explore those settings on your own. Right, I'm not gonna drag this for much longer because my graph is becoming messy, needs some tidying up, which is gonna take some time. Hopefully you're still with me and you pick up a couple techniques. Couple things. I want to extract maybe a emission map, so I'm gonna grab one of those height maps that I've got all the details here. I don't need stones, I just need a line, so grab it here, run it through histogram scan, and like this, change its position so I can extract those lines, and I think this might be a good contender for our emission. Okay. So let me maybe run it through gradient map, and I would like to blend this with our a diffuse map, just so we can have a preview of how it might look. I'm gonna set it to add a linear. This one, I'm gonna pick maybe a red color, get rid of that white in the beginning. And that could be our mask for the emission. Okay, I'm gonna add some glow to it as well. So it's not just a black and white mask. It's still be black and white, but I mean like a glow around it. You could add some of it to it. It's gonna create this nice mask for us. Okay, might look pretty cool in the engine to modify. Next, might be a good idea maybe to run it through some sort of noise and get rid of some parts of it. But I think this break I've got here, I really don't like it. So let me go to the beginning of my graph, which is here, and we've got this circular splatter circular map. So we can maybe tone down the radius of it slightly. So we've got this better looking center, I think. I'm gonna go back to my scale as well for it here, try to increase the scale of it slightly. But while I do that, I need to tweak my radius at the same time. Okay, and now I can go back to my histogram scan maybe and increase this if I wanted to. I think maybe I'm getting too many of those cracks as well, so circular splatter, you can reduce the amount of them. I'm gonna try maybe 6, maybe 7, because the distribution is not ideal, maybe 8. Whoa. Okay. I'm gonna try various settings now. You can increase the rings and see what happens. In the middle, kind of getting very nice details in the middle, so I'm just gonna keep the rings too maybe. Let's see what else we can tweak. Spiral, it's probably not something that I want, but at this point we've got a lot more randomization now, so you can tweak a couple settings and hopefully gonna get a really cool result. Okay, scale random, maybe we could tweak that one as well. And that's gonna give us a really cool looking detail, I think. Okay, one thing I really don't like is current setup for those rings, and I want to tweak it, so I'm gonna get a let's try multi-directional warp grayscale. I'm gonna get cells for as well with it, with a slight blur in case I have to tweak some edges. That goes here, and let me replug this to our whole setup, which is there. Now I can operate with the intensity and get rid of some of the intensity here, and it's going to add a lot more jagged edges to our rings. Okay, so currently we've got them very visible, but once you start reducing the intensity on your blur, they're going to get jagged very quickly. I'm going to scale down this cells node as well, because I don't need that much details, and I want the details to be irregular as well. Cool. So here I'm gonna tweak a couple settings, see which one gives me the best results. That one's pretty cool because it erodes some of them, which I quite like. I'm gonna increase the intensity to 50, which is gonna erode even more. Let me try chain maybe. Chain is over the top, so I'm not gonna touch it. I think I'm gonna use min, but with the low intensity settings. Okay, and I'm gonna copy this over here, replug it, plug it back in here. However, different settings. I'm gonna use average here with maybe 20, and I'm gonna copy this cells so I can have a different distribution as well. So I'm gonna increase the scale for that one, so we're gonna get a lot more jagged edges here. I'm gonna put maybe 10 with some random disorder. I'm gonna play with the blur settings for it, so max, min, and I think maybe 5 intensity might work. Okay, so this is what we have with those. Let me go back maybe to that smallest one and see if I can maybe change a couple settings for the bevel, because I would like this to be a bit more visible. Okay, here on the center we see we're getting a lot more cuts, which is pretty cool. Same with the middle one. I'm gonna start increasing and see what's happening with our decal, which I think is pretty cool because it gives us a lot more options. I'm gonna go back to my shape mapper for the first one and maybe reduce its radius so it doesn't go that far, somewhere around the edge maybe. Okay, let me get rid of that emissive map because I think it kind of destroys a little bit of the look of it. Cool, so that's our decal. I quite like it. It's got a lot of details. A couple maps what you could export from it is that's our diffuse, so I'd export this as a diffuse. That's our emissive map. What else do we need? I'm gonna get rid of that gradient. That's our normal map, obviously, and we need a mask for our opacity, and I think this could be it. Okay, but I think that could be it, but I would add stones to it, so I'll probably let me check. Where's our height? Height goes right there. Cool, so I think that could be our height map. And I think that one could be our opacity, actually. If not, you can obviously modify it by just running it through a histogram scan. With a high contrast or just slight contrast. And that could be your alpha map for the decal. Alright, so I hope you find it helpful. I think that decal looks pretty cool. It's got a lot of details, and with all the maps, I'm pretty sure you can create some amazing decals with those ones for any massive impacts that you need in your project. Alright, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, you can support this channel on Gumroad by just subscribing to the newsletter. Alright, thank you so much.